Is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner, given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Actually, where did it go? Where did it go? Once in a while, I like to show my award and I can't find it. One of my awards, I can't find it. What a disaster. We'll find. All right. And also,
Usually on the desk. You moved it from the desk.
Yeah, I've been doing some rearranging of this studio. And
yes.
You'd think that something that weighs about 5 pounds, you wouldn't put it anywhere far away, but I can't find it. I'm in drama. I'm in stress. No, I'm just joking. And also, I co-host and co-produce the only. I'm still looking for it. You think hopefully I'll find it. Yeah, I produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers, sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And our team has reached out directly and indirectly to over 300,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And I'm also a featured contributor on a platform called Indie Soup Media, which is powered by our friend Dr. Tachi, which has about coming up to 30 independent content creators. I am one of them, and I also sit on the advisory board. And in about 4 months' time, they have almost 13,000, I think over 13,000 YouTube subscribers. And as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. What's going on? Ryan Knight is here today.
Good to see you. For those that get who Ryan Knight is, one of the co-founders of the Afro Caribbean Business Network. Oh, am I frozen?
You were for a moment, but you're okay now.
All right, cool. So, yes, one of the co-founders of the Afro Caribbean Business Network. We support entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage, really to figure out what stage of business they're in and then help them create a strategy to grow. I am an entrepreneur myself. I run a company called Detailing Nights. So we provide mobile waterless car cleaning. So we go to people's houses or their offices, clean their cars on the spot without using water, and our plant-based eco-friendly cleaning supplies. And I'm proud of the new, I'll say, batch of young entrepreneur recruits that have gone through our training. We have another training day happening this Sunday, the 23rd. So if you're in Scarborough, we will be on this east side, pretty much training on people's dirty cars. So if
when's that happening?
So Sunday the 23rd at 2:00.
Okay.
And we're looking to do it at the C Center, so 75 Thermos Road. I think it's right by Eglinton and Kennedy-ish. I think west of Kennedy. So if you're on this side, look out for that link. It should have been in my socials. And come and get your car cleaned. No excuses.
For how much?
$65. So instead of $129, it's only $65 for the training days.
Well, this is a Detailing Nights work week because it's going to be hot, hazy, and humid.
Yeah, but a work week to find a little bit of shade though, because
it's
be heavy and humid,
Absolutely. Yes. And let's get some housekeeping. Please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Also follow Dr. Vibe on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Also, to advertise your business, product, or service on the platform, please feel free to email me, dr.vibe at drvibeshow.com. And also join the Discord group by emailing me at dr.vibe at drvibeshow.com. And also, program alert, bam, bam, bam.
Right.
This Friday, Black Belt Conversations. Watch out. Here we go. There we go. This Friday.
Nice.
Ray McMillan, Wayne Harris, going to be dropping knowledge bombs about retirement.
Right.
Let me tell you, family, I said it last Friday on the show. I finally got them to get together. It was virtually. I just sat back and listened to knowledge bombs back and forth.
Yes, yes, yes.
Right? So they're going to be straight shooting about retirement. People should know about Ray McMillan. If not, there's lots of replays of him on the platform on the Morning Vibe. Has had his own mortgage business since 1999,
Yes.
right? And has experience in doing mortgages in Canada, United States, and the Caribbean. Wayne Harris, longtime career doing high-level IT sales to like Fortune 100 companies, now doing financial education, financial services to all people who look like us. So they're going to be together on Friday, and it's not going to be a regular occurrence. It's probably once every 3 months. So book it in your calendar. If it's anything like the conversation they had about a week ago, you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be FIYAH 10 exclamation points.
Yes.
10
Looking forward to
exclamation
that one.
points. So make sure you catch it, family. Don't miss it. I know, well, hopefully Ryan will catch in some of it because I know that's his morning walk with the kiddos time. But if you can catch it, Ryan, let me suggest you may want to be
Oh yeah,
there.
there'll be enough fire
Lots
and
of
knowledge
fire.
bombs dropping. That's awesome.
100%. 100%. Let's see. We got some people in the house already this morning. Fitness IQ Cam. Morning. KSEYLRWFQ She also says sweet to have Ray and Wayne together.
Yeah.
She also says retirement. Perfect. Let me know.
Oh,
Show it to
true.
me. Oh, perfect. Let me show it to me, Papa there. All right. And also JJ Mars from Colorado. We got some Colorado heat going on this week. JJ Mars, what's going on in Colorado? So, yeah. So, we've got a freestyle Monday. So, whatever you want to chat about, put in the chat. We'll rock about it. So, Ryan, how was Father's Day?
Yeah, Father's Day was, half and half. So I did work in the morning and then got to, cuddle with the kiddos and get my presents and go see the families. So my wife's parents, and then so getting to see my father-in-law and going to see my parents, getting to see my dad. It was good. Good food and just relaxed vibes. How about yourself? How's that?
Relaxing, and then also spent some time with my dad. He loves his baseball, so we hung out and watched
Nice.
baseball for yards. Here's an interesting, so I wanted to buy some food to bring it over to the parents. First restaurant I went to closed.
Wow.
Second restaurant I went to
on a Sunday?
Well, now see, a lot of African/Black restaurants close on Sundays and Mondays. You know that.
I know Mondays typically,
But it
but
was just
Sunday.
So I said, man, if I was in the restaurant business, would I want to be closed on Father's Day?
Right. I guess, man, that'd be hard to justify because people are going to be actively going to look for things to do and places to eat on those types of days. Yeah, because you wonder, because Mother's Day, it's always like on the Sunday, right?
Yep.
So would they also close on Mother's Day? Like these two would be, you would think.
Yeah, I was disappointed. And I just went, wow, close on a Sunday in the summertime.
Yeah, we have to figure out, is that because I guess based on the traffic that they're expecting our son, or maybe it's a religious thing, like was it Chick-fil-A that doesn't open on Sunday?
Yeah, but I don't maybe it's religious, but I think I'm going closed on Father's Day.
Right.
Yeah, and Fitness IQ goes, yikes, which restaurant? She also goes, no, I wouldn't. I would have a special open on certain holidays. That's my thought process.
Yeah,
I would say, like certain, and make sure your clientele knows that you're open. But one of them, both of them just went, wow. I go, okay.
Right.
End up going to another one. They're open 7 days a week, and It wasn't my first choice, but hey, they became my first choice when none of the rest are open. Actually, yeah, I just went, but and actually we had Paul Osborne and Kofi Morris on Friday talking about Father's Day. We had a really good conversation about that.
Yes.
I didn't get a chance to go to their event on Friday evening. I've got to speak to see how it was, but Shirley J's in the house. Good morning, Shirley J.
Ew.
Had the
Congrats on the event.
Soundwave Summit a few weeks ago. Was very good. It was a good educational end about podcasting, and thanks for posting all the pictures. And actually, we had a post summit conversation. I suggested some things in order to continue the success, ride the wave of the event. But it was a really good event. Had a good time there.
Nice. That's something that'll be like once a year. Did you say, or does it
I
happen?
believe so. They'll just be doing it. Hey, Soundwave Summit, Dr. Vibe Rockstar. I wasn't a rock star. I just shared. But
Yes,
actually, Shirley, if you're gonna stay, you'll see something from that. I'll play it. I'm gonna play something from it. I actually played it on Friday. I'll play it again today. So
Nice.
that was cool. But yeah, the Soundwave Summit was good. Yeah, the Father's Day Summit. I didn't see a lot of activity going on for Father's Day.
Yeah, because who usually does stuff on Father's Day? Like,
So, I not, but there were not just events around it. Like Paul Osborne had an event on the Friday, but I didn't hear of anything else going on, events aligned to Father's Day.
gotcha. I don't like recall anything specific either. It's good observation. But I feel like it's a home barbecue vibe. Father's Day.
I do, and Paul and Kofi were asking me on. I guess I put in my suggestions. I can only speak in the GTA area. There's a lot of African/Black men organizations. They're all operating in their own silos.
Right.
Okay, Spit Nance IQ says, stop this. There was. Okay, where? Yeah, because I didn't hear about them. She also said, okay, Shirley J goes back and says, yes, we're planning for 2025. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
And she says, yes, your Father's Day special was amazing. So was mine. So she's plugging your one. Hers was about 2.5 hours long.
Okay, a conversation with her dad?
No, she had different fathers on. If she has time from her world tour, I have some suggestions about that broadcast if I'm honored enough to share them with her. Shirley J says, Dr. Vibe and ACBN, you should plan something for Father's Day supported by Dove Men. That's a very interesting conversation. All I will say is there was something to be planned, but because of circumstances that I had no control over, it didn't happen. But there is something being planned for fathers, and I'll leave it at that for now. Fitness IQ goes, bah, ha, 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 meaning that you knew about something, you didn't want to share it. All right, no problem. That's okay. That's okay. But outside of the conversation I had and the one that you had and Paul Osborne's event, I didn't hear anything going on celebrating African Black fathers.
Interesting. Well, wouldn't the organization like Young Potential Fathers do something at Ujima House?
Okay. So that organization is challenged. I'll just leave. That's an offline conversation.
Oh boy.
Right?
Is the location still there? The one on Western?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I know they like with Black Daddy's Club and Brandon, they do events there. I don't know if maybe they do
but see there. Okay, so there's a number of organizations such as that one and others. I didn't hear them doing anything attached to Father's Day.
Right.
Even the day before. The last thing I knew that was done in around that was outside of Paul's End a few years ago. There was something called Dad Fest, and it was like a picnic for dads to bring their kids.
Oh, okay.
But not here a thing. So we're doing an open mic Monday. So anything you want us to chat about, family, we're doing it. So let's
Well,
see.
a
No,
lot of events coming up and events past. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
uh, you're only Fitness IQ says, "Oh, you're only referring to Blacks, African, Caribbean." Understood? Yes, because this program is focused to them. Fitness IQ
Yes,
camp.
yes,
Did you just realize that? Oh my!
yes.
Or you, as you would say, G's and P's. All right. And she goes,
Oh,
"No, I was laughing because of the shameless plug." All right, we got that. Oh, Michelle de Baptiste. Good morning to Michelle Baptiste. Very good to have you on. Michelle, I got to give a big hail up. She allowed me to be with her to do the first cohort. It was back during the pandemic. We together programmed a oh, you were part of that, Ryan. City of Toronto, their first
right.
program for Black African or African Black entrepreneurs who were receiving on government assistance. Remember? Well, you don't probably know. You do so many things, but you were part of that.
Yes. So and I mean Donji, who's now in Nairobi, is part of ACBN's board, and we met through your program.
There you
He
go.
invited me to
Yeah,
speak. So
Don
yeah,
G. Don G is doing lots of things. So I saw last time I saw on the red carpet for the Canadian Screen Awards that were held last week.
nice, nice, nice.
You know, so this Wayne Harris. Good morning, gentlemen. How was the weekend? How I hope was fine. How was Father Day for you, Wayne? And also, I did showed the promo. Black Belt Conversations coming up Friday. Dangerous, dangerous. Friday's going to be a dangerous day, but we're doing sort of like open mic here. So anything you want to chat about, put it up on the screen. Anything else, Ryan?
Yeah, well, talking about past events. So Friday, actually, I was thinking I can show you a bit of my travels. Let me see if this works.
Actually, you know what? What we're going to do? No, we'll do the
Hmm.
travels and we'll go for a break. Oh, there we go. Hold on.
Well,
Here,
yeah.
here we go. Oh, what's BDA? What's BDA?
Okay, hold on. So at the Meridian Arts Center, this is one of my students, Jor, that does candles. So this gentleman's from TCBN, and Shireen
Oh,
and Karen came
there's
with me.
yes, there's Miss Podcasting Lady.
So Toronto Community Benefits Network, they
Oh
do
yes,
the Building Diversity
yes.
Awards. So we got to go check this out. Hold on. And so they had a good amount. I think I took of their sponsors. ACBN was a sponsor. Let's see. So they had their "What does diversity mean to you" wall. Not sure if you know Francis
Oh
Jeffers
yes.
from the
Yeah, I
Mobile
know
Museum,
Francis.
African Museum.
Who's that beside him?
So Sam, he's from Dream Legacy Foundation.
Okay, that's a lot. It's been a long since I've heard that name.
Oh yeah,
Dream Legacy. Oh, you love doing this thing. You love doing this.
yeah. A lot of them are having
Uh,
this 360 thing now. So these two
okay.
gentlemen are from Black Urbanism TO that are doing the land trust in Little Jamaica.
Okay.
And then this is Rosemary Powell's daughter.
Oh.
And let's see. So Olivia Chow was there.
Okay.
And Keys. So Keys is an amazing contractor, does home renovations. If you're ever looking to remodel your house, definitely check that out.
Wow, there's a sighting of your Chris Beth Cowie, a sighting? A
Right.
Chris Beth Cowie sighting. Okay.
So Charmaine Williams was there. And then let's see, there's Rosemary.
Oh wow. Yes, Miss Powell. You bring it, Rosemary Powell. Okay.
So this is the team. So our boys from ACA. We have to get ACA, so the Afro Canadian Contractors Association. So
We had them on a long time
They
ago.
were one of our very early guests, and we haven't had them back on since. So Patricia Jagannath was the host. Remember from Bell. But beyond on the Building Diversity Awards. We were
Was it
also
was the event
at,
was the
so
ev-
this is
was
where
the
they
ev-
were just doing.
was the event well attended?
Yeah, I mean, like 400 people.
And was it held day or evening?
This was evening, and it was like from 8 to 11 evenings.
Okay.
So our boy Isaac. I'm not sure if you know Cheryl Kerr. She
I
runs
know
Medics.
that. She runs what?
Medics. It's like a physiotherapy, healthcare. She just won
okay.
an award with TV.
Okay, so this is interesting. So some good questions. Good for first. Also, good morning, Roger Dundas. Hope all is well. I got a hail up. I had a very humbling moment yesterday. Buyblacks.com, the number one Black online magazine in Canada, or Canada's number one Black online magazine. They every Sunday they have their weekly email out, and they listed the Dr. Vibe shows in them.
Hey, thank you, appreciate it.
So, Black Canada Talking, The Morning Vibe, and Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala, and other special conversations. Which reminds me, this Thursday, family, at 11 a.m., Kamal Kara, the Minister of Disabilities and Diversity, will be on this platform at 11 a.m. I didn't have a chance to put that on, but she will be on live at 11 a.m. Okay. So thank you, Roger, and I hope you had an outstanding I was gonna say Father's Day. I know that I believe you spent it at Laz Cuisine, so I hope that was good. Nice. Now here's the thing. I think now I don't know if you got hit by this, but they were having a street festival on Main Street North in Markham. Did you get caught in that madness? I'm curious. Right. Okay, let's go back to Shirley J. She goes, right. I just found out, BDA, that I found out from your social. So she didn't find out till later. I actually was, and I have to say, I was trying to work with Christopher Trotman to have Rosemary on. It never happened. But again, she goes, yes, totally amazing, and contracts with HGTV as well. I don't know if that was the person you mentioned.
Keys Reynolds.
Yeah. And then, but here's a good, Cassandra London says, good morning. So we're going to go for a quick break because there's a question that, okay, the festival was Friday, Saturday. Yesterday was Father's Day brunch. Good. So you didn't get caught in that madness. Good. I was thinking about that. So good, because I know some people who went on Friday and who wanted to go there Friday and Saturday. They said it was ridiculous.
Whoa.
The traffic, it was just crazy. All right, so we're going to take a quick break because we're going to come back and we're going to see if Ryan can explain something for us. Yeah, because you're the Gala King.
All right.
So we're going to come back in just a moment. And I'm glad I'm speaking that Shirley J is still here because I'm going to play something that she will find interesting. So we're going to do it right now. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. My name is Paige. I am a marketing consultant and the host of More Than a Mom, the podcast. I am here at the Soundwave Summit, and I had the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Vibe, and the gems he dropped were unmatched. An accidental conversation really changed my whole plan. And if I had him 3 years ago when I started my consulting career, it would have made a major change. The biggest thing that I learned that I'm taking with me is understanding that I do not have a show, I have a solution. And I think that's something that's not talked about enough. Another thing that really adjusted my mindset was the power of positive language. I was telling him about some of my problems are asking for help. I'm always pouring into other people, but it's hard and it's a problem that I can't get that same thing in return. And he said, it's not a problem. It's something that, what did you say? Not a problem. You said, oh, it's a challenge. It's something that's a challenge for me. And that simple adjustment of language, I went away to lunch and I called 4 people and I'm like, hey friends, we need to change our energy. We need to change our outlook. We are solution-driven people. We do not need to do things the way society tells us to do things. This checklist that we feel like we need to fall under, this 10-minute conversation we had, it changed up everything. So I'm so thankful for the gems. I feel like I'm going to go back and make a whole new to-do list that's based on how I need to do things, a different way of looking at things, and I'm just so thankful. So thank you, Dr. Vibe.
Love it, love it.
So there you go. And let's see in the comments. Shirley J goes, Paige. Yeah, that was Paige. That was taken outside the Soundwave Summit event. And then let's see. So she goes, yes, Paige. There we go. And then she also says Shirley goes, to see fellow Black Canadian creators coming together like this just makes me want to cry. So I'm glad we had a good emotional moment for you. Fantastic. All right. So Gala King, question.
Oi.
What is the goal of the BDA?
The overarching goal is to highlight in the construction industry who is actually taking diversity seriously. So I know when I talked to Rosemary from the Toronto Community Benefits Network, it's one thing to advocate and always be adversarial when trying to get change. I mean, the construction industry has its set of issues, challenges, things that do need to be improved. The work that TCB has done around community benefits for the 10 plus years is a testament to that. But then also, and because I had that same question for her, we can't only criticize the industry. There are organizations, businesses, different unions. I mean, there's so many unions in the construction industry. There are people trying to actually enact change, and we need to also spotlight that. So yes, advocate and put spotlights on what's wrong, but also advocate and put spotlights on what is going right and who's actually leaned into this work. So that's really what the genesis of the BDAs was. And now it's become a way for TCBN to amplify their awareness. So now it's national. So before it was just, I think, Toronto, and now they're looking at partners doing great work across Canada. So it's really allowed them to spread out their footprint. I wonder if they'll change their name and take off the Toronto and just say Community Benefits Network. But yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. That's why we call him the Gala King. He has the input on all. So I will be interested to see when I hear anything from them next.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like we can reach out to. Like, what do you mean? Wait for
okay. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
You and I always get in this back and forth. Maybe Roger can join in on this, and also Shirley, because we are content creators or marketing people. Should we be reaching out to these organizations on a regular basis, or should they be reaching out to us, media people, marketing people?
Well, you're expecting them to have a media relations department.
No, I'm not.
But that's the job. That's the job of a person at a company that does PR and media relations, to actively always be reaching out to media outlets for them to get their stories covered. When it's a smaller team,
it's part of marketing.
But that takes a marketing professional too. So do they have a staff person fully dedicated to marketing? A lot of organizations don't. So it's now a lot of times on bandwidth strapped staff to also do that work. So that's where
I'll add a layer to it. I'll just say some organizations seem to have it when they're looking at non-melanated networks. Just let me put it that way. They seem to find a way to do it for non-melanated networks. I'll just leave it at that.
That I do not disagree with.
Okay,
but I'm saying we are not them. So we have to.
So okay, so if we're not them,
right.
if we're not them, I guess, and we have to reach out to them.
No, I'm saying we are not those non-melanated media outlets.
Right.
So we can't carry ourselves like them. We have to do what's best for what we want to accomplish. If there's certain organizations that we want to engage with, it's on us to also engage with them. It can't be, oh, I want them to be on the show, but I'm gonna wait for them to ask. That I don't buy into that mindset or approach to, because they're right there. Like, it's not like people are hiding, so we can definitely get a hold of them.
Okay. Lots. So Shirley J, do you want? You said okay. So a good doctor. Okay, hold on. Wait, there's flying comments now. Comment just got okay. Shirley J first says, "That's it, Doctor Vibe. We need to chat." Okay, that's it, Doctor Vibe. We need to chat to have you part of the Soundwave Summit 2025. I'm gonna chat with you as well, Ryan. Talk about you are doing live with the morning live. She is in the house, Dr. Tachi, driving force behind Indie Soup Media, is in the house.
I would love to get Dr. Tachi's perspective on that.
It's here in the comments. It's
Okay.
coming. All right. Yeah. She goes hashtag Gala King report. Shirley J says both. She
Agreed.
goes, how do I join? Okay, I believe I have your email address, so I'm gonna see if I can get you in this conversation on in real time. If you're, and she goes, Shirley J, agree with you on the non-melanated Dr. V. Ray is in the house. She's warming up for Friday. Good morning, folks. Our vocabulary is more important than we can ever imagine. Choice of words used to describe circumstances can significantly impact the outcome. Cassandra says, I agree with you, Ryan. Dr. Tachi says, but if an organization doesn't have a marketing department, then it's up to them to decide whether media exposure is important. Shirley J goes,
wait, hold on. So that is why it's on smaller media outlets to show these organizations why it's important to get certain media coverage. If we can't make it or show them the benefit so that they see how important it is, they're not going to think it's important. So they will dismiss it and not reach out and spend their time, because they will think coverage by a CBC or the Toronto Star or the Toronto Sun is important, even though in reality, the impact in being covered in those outlets might not be as strong as the impact being covered in something like the Morning Vibe or the Dr. Vibe show, because of the audience. Like, the audience of people that read the Toronto Sun might not be the people that will enact change that TCBN wants to see. Yet people that watch this show might be more willing to support what TCBN does. They don't know that. So that's where we have to be proactive to let them know why it's beneficial to be on certain platforms. And I would expect the same thing of like a buyblacks.com or Brandon Golnez, whoever does media on a smaller scale than the big media outlets. We have to now do more work to show how important it is to have their voices here.
So what are you telling me, that because we're smaller organizations, they'll go to the non-melanated, they shouldn't think about also reaching out to melanated platforms?
I didn't say they shouldn't. I said they don't, because of perceived perception. So Dr. Tachi just said they don't perceive certain media outlets as being a high priority. So now what would change their mind to make them realize that it should be high priority? They don't have team to do that research. So it's on us to put that in front of them and say, like, hey, this is why it's important to be on these platforms for XYZ. It's the marketing side of what we do. Like,
okay, so so Dr. Tachi goes, no, but when they need to use the same energy with Black-owned media they need to use the same energy with Black-owned media that they do with mainstream media. Also, she says, with all due respect, I'm not going to spend extra time to convince people that my platform is important. However, I do understand the mindset. Shirley J says, agree. The Soundwave Summit would not have happened if I didn't place myself out there and get seen or read. Ched C, have not seen you in a while. Good morning. Big claps to Ryan. It's all about working together as a community. That's how we elevate our business. Ched C, what's your mandate? My mandate is trying to deal with Ryan.
Hey, that you can get done in the afternoon. But what's the mandate for your own platform? Like
It's
you talked about.
actually you. It's interesting you mentioned that because I was doing some organizing the office, and I saw a sticky that I had written a number of years ago, and it's in front of me right now, and it's to educate, empower, enlighten, entertain those Africans from all around the world, and that's it. Simple. Now Shirley J is in because she wants. So that's Ched Siwa. Hayden says, "Is there anything wrong with us with us chasing after us?" But Dr. Tachi says, "But that's the same short-sightedness is why our business sometimes do not flourish. All marketing angles are important." Shirley J.
Well, who's going to educate them on that?
Okay,
People don't learn
Dr.
things
Tachi,
just
I have
by
a great.
accident.
Dr. Tachi says I have a great personal example. So Dr. Tachi, do you mind if I send you
Send her the link to
and if you don't, and so Ryan can only go on till 10 o'clock, but I'm happy to go past 10 o'clock. Dr. Tachi, would you be available to come on? You don't have to have your camera on. I'd like to have your perspective on this also. So Shirley, are you ready to come on and give me a thumbs up when you're ready? All right. So she's in the green room. When she gives me a thumbs up, I'm going to bring her on.
Nice.
Dr. Tachi says, see, this is what I love about when we just vibe. We just vibe like this. Okay, Shirley is ready. All right. Take yourself off mute, you podcast. There we go.
So I'm like,
you for
okay,
joining us. Good to see you.
It's okay. What's going on?
good.
This is good. This is good. This is what it's all about.
All 100%.
Good.
Yes.
Okay. Shout it to us. What do you think about this subject?
This is such a great subject because I am like an example of this, of running Black Canadian creators for the past 4 or 5 years and having, in a way, a silo approach to marketing. And I was marketing it obviously for, the whole goal of this platform and the podcasts was for elevating Black creators. But I wanted it to be beyond just Black people to find out about these Black creators. The goal really is for them to be seen so that way everyone of whatever culture can see them. And this didn't happen until the past 6 months, where that has catapulted for me. But it took for me to be an example and to start like exemplifying that same message for the world to discover. So, and it's so funny because even at the Soundwave Summit, I talked about community, but also putting it yourself out there. And writing a newsletter was huge game changer for me. Game changer.
Gotcha.
It's what it got me by being exemplifying not only who are the content. Well, in this newsletter, really, I was just focusing on marketing or showcasing Black podcasts in Canada. But by seeing how I write it and putting it together and things like that, it creates trust, right? So that people outside of the Black community, who really are actual allies and wants to be like, okay, not only I could see that she does this, but I know that she has a show. I know she knows how to do this. She's been doing podcasting since 2008. So I'm not just like talking out of thin air. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So being an example through this newsletter in literally 6 months created for, Palm people to really be like, oh man, how can I help you? Like, how can we get you involved? Like, you know what I mean? And that's how the Soundwave Summit came about. Really, it just introduced me to other people who are not part of the community, but true allies who really are advocating, or who I had to do some teaching to them too. Like, look, if you want to be inclusive, here's what you need to do. Right. And being forthright and honest with them on what inclusivity looks like, right? But my whole point is it takes both. Like, I realize, like, you can try to put content out there till you're blue in the face, but no one's going to know you exist until you send that email, you send a text, you DM people. It's both ways for us to just create content. Like, and this is what I say to clients with podcasting. If you think you're creating a podcast and you post it out there, if you build it, they will come. That's a lie. It's
Agreed.
a lie. They won't come. They don't know what to come to. Who are you? Unless you're a celebrity, then sure. But if you don't have that celebrity status, you got to put yourself out there. You got to reach out and DM. It takes both ways, basically. That's my whole point in all this.
And that's where there's warm like contacts and cold contacts. People that are warm know about you, and whatever you do organically, they're gonna find it. When people don't know about you, you have to get in front of their face. You can't expect people that don't know about you or what you can do to just find you and treat you with the value that you expect.
Okay, so a few things. First of all, Dr. Tachi, are you there?
Yeah, Dr. Tachi.
Just got to unmute
Oh,
yourself.
I'm here. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, before we go any further, Chedsey says, Dr. Vibe, if your mandate is to affect change and uplift the community, that's my responsibility to reach out and get information to the community. Each one, teach one. 100% agree. I'm going to tell you something, though. I get more response from people who don't look like me than do look like me.
And nobody said it's going to be easy.
I didn't say it was easy.
But you're saying you get more response. I agree. Nobody is saying that's not true.
And I'll even take it further. I get more response from people who don't live in this country than do live in this country who look like me.
Valid. But I'm saying they are probably more well-versed in how the benefits of what you do. So if people, for example, in Canada, don't understand the benefits of certain media platforms, they're not going to put it as high priority. If people in the US know how powerful that media can be, they will have it as high priority. So when they see it happening, they will engage.
I will say, and I'm going to go now to Dr. Tachi. I go where I'm fed. Dr. Tachi, go ahead.
Good morning, all. I'm sorry that my camera is off.
It's okay.
All good.
Let me tell you how I'm tired of Negroes, okay? I have had it with Negroes.
This is why I brought Dr. Tachi in. Thank you. Go.
Why is your Black business more important than mine as a Black media person? So the same energy that you want for other Black people to give to you all, and I mean the proverbial you, as a Black business, come to my restaurant, come do this, and you want that same energy, but you don't want to put that same energy into Black media? Are we not Black businesses too? Or are you telling me that your Black business is more important than my Black business? And I'm here to tell you it is not. It is not. So yes, it is. I think it is a give and take. I do agree that I know people know the Toronto Sun, people know the Washington Post, people know these outlets because they first of all, they have a money machine behind them. They've been around a lot longer. And you know, it's not just with Black media, it's media and smaller media outlets in general have a tougher time getting out there. So, you know, let's just make it that. But then when you go down to, you know, even further to the micro level and you look at Black media, yes, now there's a bigger problem because, and I won't even put it out there in terms of it being compared to mainstream, it's the ice is colder thing. So you're still thinking that the Toronto Sun's ice is colder than the Dr. Vibe show. Or what, you know, it's that mindset as well. And I submit to you, I'm not going to, let me say how they say in Florida in the South. I'm not finna waste my time making you all believe that somehow I'm as worthy as the other ones. I go, like Dr. Vibe said, I go where I'm fed. And I'm being fed by all sorts of people now. I wanted to give you a personal example. Sure. I think I've said this before, where I was the director for a talk show that we were pitching in Atlanta. Now, of course, you know, Atlanta is the Hollywood of the South. They brought me on to be the director. We shot 2 pilots. And 2 episodes, the pilot episode and the second episode, and it went really well. But what people have to understand is that there are other media outlets besides TV1, BET, Netflix, all of the majors. In fact, most people, if you're going to see their content, it's not going to be on those things, especially with the way media is going. So I was the youngest one, and this is not to put something about age, but they grew up in the age of television was the end all and be all, and that's all we're going to do. And I'm going to make sure I get on with OWN, or I'm going to talk to something, or we have a meeting. So I kept trying to tell them, listen, there is enough content here that if we start really getting active on social media and launch a YouTube channel, believe me, we could get this going. And then if you really have the desire to go to a larger, quote, platform or a more mainstream platform, we could do that because we will have a following. Okay. But then they'll go ahead and take a meeting with somebody else who's just listening to them, just like, yeah, okay. Hollywood works with who Hollywood knows. If they don't know you, they're not going to work with you. And I kept trying to get this through their heads, but because they were of the generation where all they knew was television, they did not believe that this new media way could be a way to get eyes and community. And it's not just about eyes and people want community now. That's the thing. People want community. I want to be able to, if you have a podcast or something, I can talk to you in real time, because Netflix, I can't talk back to the creators on Netflix. This is what people want. And so now, knowing this, and that's another thing, these organizations don't do the research on what's working. So you just see, again, CBC, oh, let me put my stuff there. But how many times are you getting actual residuals or anything back from having your stuff on CBC? Do you know any of the people who are watching your things? Do they even care? No. But if you pay enough money, you can have your stuff there. So sorry to get all platformy, but I do agree. We have to put ourselves out there. It's not just a building and we will come, but also if we're talking about being Black now, that we have to use extra energy to do other things, to do all sorts of things. And we know that the same energy I put into telling you about this better be the same energy that you are using to put your stuff on Black media. I rest.
Can I add to this too? This is the reason why when I do these talks and I get invited about like talking about podcasting, and I really am trying to shift any type of content creator to look at your shift your audience from audience to community and build a community around it, because brands are getting smarter. Okay. They have seen that investing in someone who has 1 million followers, but doesn't really have some sense of communal or influence to their followers. And it just becomes like, you're literally just throwing a fish net in the ocean, and you hope that something sticks. And that's what's been happening. And that's what they've been seeing when they have, like, let's say working with an influencer who has 1 million followers. And I use this example, right? If would you want to go with an influencer who has 1 million followers and has no idea, not built any form of true sense of community? But if I show up and tell you I have 10 followers and they're like, well, what's that going to do? Yeah, but if I tell you I have influence that these 10 followers are Oprah, I don't know, like just give, big Beyonce, Jay-Z, Dr. Tachi, like, do you know what I mean? Like people,
that you can talk to them,
right? Like if I see you. Right. If I give you these 10s and, Barack Obama, and anytime I post something, they're going to be sharing it. Doesn't that make me much more influential than someone who has like 1 million followers and have no idea and have not built any form of community? That's number one. Number two, with what and I'm just hopping off of Dr. Tachi, and I'm inspired by this, but that's what I've been doing for the past 6 months too, is being unapologetically Black when I am dealing with people who are POM people. You know what I mean? If you're really thinking of creating something with me or want to include my community, because that's what's happening right now. People who are not Black are coming to me and they see, like, you have a community, you've built trust, I have a Rolodex of 500 Black Canadian creators. So I can bring him to your event. I can create an event and help them build the platform, right? But you have to understand that I'm gonna come in Black, I'm gonna be unapologetic about it, and check your fragility at the door. And I make them run through the test. You know, like even the people that I co-organized, in the end, we had a few little situation where, so you have some people who fall through the cracks and, they present themselves like they're really into the whole diversity thing, but they're not. And I had to tell them that comes with the territory when you are creating work or a space that's supposed to represent some form of inclusivity. And I told them I wouldn't have done the work with them or co-organized this if they didn't pass my fragility test, period, point blank. You know what I mean?
Mm.
If you don't allow me to be unapologetically Black, and I'm bringing these Black people who is going to also be unapologetical about who their experience as content creators, then we're not going to work together. And so that's why, putting yourself out there, your best foot forward. I just had that realization like literally 2 weeks ago with shifting my LinkedIn. I was like, why I'm putting all my time of networking on LinkedIn. Why don't I just share my knowledge? And people who are going to see that, oh, she's really aware about podcasting. I'm just putting my knowledge out there. And that's what's going to attract people. And that's what the newsletter does too. It's like you have
Yes.
to be open and share your knowledge and your expertise. And that's how people who are non-Black will come to you. Anyway, I'm just inspired by everything Dr. Tachi said. That was so good. The community is so important.
Teach more and sell less.
Mm.
Teach more and sell less.
Period.
This is where Dr. Tachi touched on something. And that's why I'm going to push back a bit, Dr. Tachi, because
good.
You mentioned the example of like a Black-owned restaurant. They're saying to come support Black, that whole mantra. The reason, and we have to understand who we're dealing with. Typically, and we can think of those that we've engaged with, how strong is their marketing team? Do they even have a marketing person, a dedicated marketing person? Typically, it's them. And they're not versed in how important marketing is and how to do it properly. So when they only know how to say, oh, come support me, but they don't actually know how to market themselves properly. So you having a media platform or Dr. Vibe having a media platform, they actually don't have the expertise to know how to effectively use it. So now we exist, but they need to be educated in how important it is to actually use that platform. A lot of times they only see like, oh, well, CBC or the Washington Post has X amount of followers and this smaller media outlet only has Y amount of followers. But that isn't exactly what Shirley was saying. That doesn't show true impact. Like if we have 100 people that will engage with a person that we bring on the show versus putting an article in the Toronto Sun that, sure, I don't know what their readership is now, but it's like if 1 million people read it, but 1 million of those people do not care about your message, that's wasted money. But we're dealing with people that still think that that's more impactful than actual local community-based media. And unfortunately, they might never understand and that's where with ACBN, we try to encourage entrepreneurs to actually build teams. You need somebody dedicated on marketing. You need somebody dedicated on your financials. You need somebody dedicated on operations. And you, the genius that can do the work or cook the food, focus on that. But a lot of times it's that one person doing all 4 things and Ryan, they don't have the ability to do it proper.
Not to interrupt, I do understand that, but you're assuming that is not the case with media outlets. I am a single person media outlet. I do everything. I too don't have time to reach out to you, Chicken George, and make sure that you come. And I don't have that time either. But if I think something is important enough, I make the time. So I'm not giving anybody a pass anymore. That's why we're in the predicament we are, because we continuously apologize for why we are not knowledgeable. Not when there's Google and on God's internet, not when there is AI. I refuse to believe that. True. So the whole thing, and a lot of these people are educated enough to get through processes of securing government grants, securing, and you can't do this. I refuse. I refuse.
Look at where their priority is. Their priority is typically on, yes, going out, getting grants, and then that's their expertise. But actual community work and engaging with Black-owned media outlets, they don't see the priority in that. They don't see the benefit. So they don't put any priority on it.
Yeah,
They only focus on over here trying to go get money instead of actually doing the community work.
I agree, but then there's something wrong with your business model if you don't look at it holistically and you only think the getting the money part is important. I don't have to cook the food. I don't have to advertise this. I just need to get money. That's a flaw on the business owner's end if you don't look at this holistically. You've got to look at it holistically. And I do understand, and I get sometimes our people that are in business, we may be the first generation of people who ever got into business. So we don't understand all the fine points, but not understanding is one thing. Continuingly being, that's not even a word. But whatever.
You make up your words all the time.
I'm making up a new one. Yeah.
It works for the sentence.
Continuously being ignorant of the things is not anybody else's problem but your own. So I do agree. I think there can be an end of it where Black-owned, first of all, I think more Black-owned media need to collaborate. We operate in silos way too much, and it doesn't make any sense. When we're all there for the same goal, why not collaborate on doing things? And I'm not saying not at all, but I think too many people are stuck on, I'm a Black media outlet. I'm the first Black media. Who cares who's doing it as long as people are doing it? So I think that's one thing. I think there can be an education end to what you're saying, Ryan, in terms of educating people on the fact that these Black-owned businesses are out there. Sorry, these Black-owned media outlets and businesses are out there. I think that's good, but we cannot absolve the individual of responsibility to, good and darn well that you need publicity. I don't want to hear it. If you sit there and just cook rice and peas and never say anything, nobody knows you have rice and peas. The thing is, you think putting rice and peas, that you have it for sale, is more important in the Toronto Sun than it is advertising someplace else.
Yeah, they want to get on breakfast television. Like
but they all don't get on breakfast television, do they?
Exactly.
Right,
and the chances are slimmer.
Right. And then when you tell them, like, yeah, but how much breakfast television is going to give you? 4 minutes, 7 minutes if you're lucky. If you come on my podcast, you could have 15, 30, maybe an hour.
1 hour here.
You know what I mean? Like, you could say you could say a lot about your business in 15, 30 minutes, 45, to 60 minutes. You could say a whole lot then compared to traditional media that's just going to give you, if you're lucky, 7 minutes.
And the people, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the people who are going to watch breakfast television probably are not the ones that are going to come out to Scarborough or Scarborough and patronize your business, okay? They're trying to be in downtown Toronto. They're trying to be in those. So we also have to look at the impact. If I'm here, it's nice. Listen, they're nice to say, as seen in such and such, as seen on such and such. But was that really a good use of your money if nobody that watches such and such is actually going to come? Now it's just a feather in your cap to say I was on such and such. Let's use some realization here. I look at Dr. Vibe and the fact with the juice, what's it, the juice bar, Carolyn's
Energy Shack juice bar.
The Energy Shack. Look at how many people have gotten turned on because of Dr. Vibe. Okay. Right. That may not have happened. I'm not saying it won't, but that may not have happened with a more mainstream outlet, because not only does he give an hour, it's a continuous type of thing. You would never get a continuous relationship. Even if you said, hey, I want to have a regular spot, they'd be like, that's nice. Next.
Yes. But
all right, Ryan, you got to go. You got 30 seconds.
I told them I'll be 10 minutes. So.
Okay. Before you go any further, a few quick. Well, let's just get comments. So the McMillan Group, Shirley J is on the spot with her perspective. The overdependence of social media to grow business has stifled the ability for many businesses to scale. You have to build spheres of influence. Fitness IQ says, hello, Shirley and Dr. Tachi. Shirley J, yes, community. Let's go on further. Hayton says, it may not be enough to go only where you're fed. Maybe you should also go where you're needed. Your community needs you. Well, let me just say with that, Hayton, I have tried a number of times to do that. And you know what? Dr. Vibe's getting tired.
Exactly.
right? But
Exactly.
I'll still do it periodically. And again, the greatest example is when I reach out to over 20 of the Black entrepreneurship partners, told them who I was, say, congratulations, getting the money, come onto the show. How many returned my message? None of them. But of
this
course,
is where
not done yet. Not done yet.
yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Do you think this is a generational thing? Even us,
no.
like I'm hearing all of us. Do you think it's a generational thing? I say this because
Can I
I
just
work with the younger generation and they
Okay.
deal with it differently.
Okay. Cassandra London says, I agree, education is necessary. I also got Roger Dundas. Should I be on this call, Dr. Vibe? I've emailed you the link, so I'm expecting you to be on the call. Check your Buy Blacks email address. The link is there, so come on down. Cassandra says, as someone who's around small Black businesses, I'm telling you, Ryan is right. They need education. If you have a media background, this way of thinking is easier. If you don't, they miss the mark. And then Minnie on Cam. Hey, Minnie on Cam. But some of these Black businesses are open with no inventory. All right. Now, Ryan, you can come back. And Roger, I'm hoping that you come on. Go ahead, Ryan.
What Minnie on Cam just said about inventory is so important. And Dr. Tachi, you know I love you. And it's unfortunate that we're dealing with a lot of flawed businesses. The businesses actually don't operate optimal, so they don't know how to even engage with these types of media platforms. And Shirley, will you use an example when you're able to bring the content creators to the symposium? And what was the feedback?
The feedback, I brought 9 content creators and the feedback was these businesses aren't ready. They have no idea. I think they need the education first before we do something like this again.
But here's an interesting question. If CTV or CBC approach them, I have a feeling they find a way of being ready.
Preach. Hallelujah. No, but see, no, that's the point right there. And yes. I do, believe me, I understand that traditional media has been around for a longer time. People know them more. They have more connections and partnerships. They're going to pull a lot of weight. I'm not debating that at all. And I know that smaller media outlets don't have as much reach. Absolutely. I get it. But the same consideration that they want for Black people to use for Black businesses and considering them first is the same consideration that Black businesses should use in terms of looking at Black media, not just as an afterthought, and independent media in general, not just as an afterthought. And I do understand, but we keep going towards this thing of they may not know. I know, fine. But there are a lot of Black business owners. Is it then contingent upon us in the media to educate everyone? Or does somebody then need to also say, you know what? This is not working. How do I do something different? How do we collaborate? It's the thing of, like Dr. Vibe says, at a point you get tired to continue to do the heavy lifting and the work for people who really, and I'm not saying you know everything, but there's enough out there where you can do some research. And again, we all are independent businesses as well. So the onus then becomes on us, where we are stretched for resources as well, but you want us to do more of the work. It cannot be, because let's say, where's the incentive? Of course we want to help, but if we're just looking at it incentive-wise, and if we are getting attention and press from other places, then where's the incentive to do the extra work for you? Of course, yes, because we're Black and we want to help. But then isn't that the same argument you're using? That it's not fair. It's unfair. So we shouldn't be taxed with the extra work for people who can do the work, regardless of the fact that you're the only one cooking the oxtail that day. I'm the only one promoting the shows on my platform.
But remember, this is where we need to encourage each other to also build our own teams.
Yes.
Dr. Tachi, you should not be operating solo. Even if it's a part-time VA that can do that outreach to let those that, might be pressing your time, but if you do break through, there's benefit there. we have to be able to do the warm outreach and the cold outreach.
Yes.
But I do understand it takes time to build our teams. That's why I always encourage entrepreneurs to start small. I reach out to every single politician at least twice a year. I mean, all 250 MPs. Ryan isn't sending all those emails. My VA, I say, listen, they need to know who we are. Get the list. She created the whole spreadsheet, and any message that we have, she sent it to them. Same thing with the organizational leaders. We're supposed to be all working together, but for 2 years, we've only gotten to maybe half of them showing up to meetings. But I say to my assistant, listen, make sure you keep following up with these people. And one thing I like about that is now you document if people are responding, because those entrepreneurs that were reaching. Oh yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm just gonna say, Roger Dundas, are you ready?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, bring him up because I saw his disagreement there.
All right.
Hey,
unmute yourself, Roger Dundas. Unmute yourself. Okay. So see, and again, we had none of this planned this morning, family. This is organic. Roger Dundas.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Dr. Vibe, my brother Ryan, my younger brother,
Media
Shirley,
Council,
my sister, and Dr. Tachi. How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm blessed, as Dr. Vibe would say, highly favored, and enjoyed my Father's Day yesterday. Yes. I must say, a lot of food.
Yes.
A lot of food. We were up at Laz, and the breakfast was outside. The brunch, it was a brunch. It was really good and crowded.
Where's my shout out, Roger? Where's my shout out?
Huh? She didn't hear when I said my sister Shirley.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay. Come on, Shirley. Come on. Don't do that.
Roger.
Don't do that.
Roger.
So I've been listening. You guys are talking about black media. You're talking about impact. You're talking about people not supporting black media and all of that, right? So you want my Black's perspective on it? I mean, we're in a different space, I guess. So I would never say that the black community doesn't support black media. We get pitched everything. Carnival, right down to Walnut Foundation, whatever is going on, we're getting the pitch emails. We don't have the resources to cover everything. So we have to cherry pick what we think is going to be of interest to the reader. Right? So there was a time when we were doing a lot of profiles, and we made the switch last year. I think we were doing business profiles and this and that. And the truth is, if we did a profile just going to talk to Ryan about ACBN and how he started it, nobody's interested. What they would be interested in more is if Ryan's son experienced racism at his school and how he dealt with it. So you got to go with what is Buy Blacks. Buy Blacks is, in my opinion, an advocacy online magazine. We're advocating for people who don't have a voice sometimes, or people that, I would say don't have a voice. And then, of course, showcasing Black excellence, not Drake Black excellence, but CEE Black excellence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So everyday excellence. Yes.
That's one thing with the stories, but what about people advertising on the platform? Because that's where I feel disconnected.
All right. Thank you. Great.
Do you feel like how
great question.
Priority the black community puts on actually spending dollars on the platform?
So, what I see is that a lot of businesses don't have the budget. And this is something that we really need to come to terms with, right? Mm-hmm. We're talking about a restaurant. So, obviously I have a little bit more knowledge about the restaurant business now that I've done this restaurant week 7 times. I've been across the country, and I've met, and I let me tell you guys, I sit down with restaurant owners and listen to their stories off camera. Nothing, we're not reporting anything or anything. Mm-hmm. So I've heard the bottom line is they're short staffed. They're under-resourced.
Right.
So if you have that person, they're serving food, right? The same person that's serving the food is cooking the food, is running the cash register most times, right? Is going to do the shopping in the morning and doing the social media posts. Because one, 2, 3 people, right? Most. I mean, Laz had like a staff of guys. Six. They had 6 staff there. Plus Jerry and Laz are also serving. How many restaurants do you go to? Do you go and you see the owners coming out and serving as well? So it's just it's not fair sometimes to make these statements about them not wanting to market. I think they want to do it, but to your point, Ryan, they really should hire somebody and get the help to come in, right?
They don't need to hire. They could just work with people like Dr. Tachi.
They'd have to hire.
This is well, yes. I mean, they're going to pay, obviously, but they can reach out to like, and that's what the conversation I had or tried to present at ACBN symposium to these businesses. Think of content creators like Dr. Vibe, like myself, who has a roster that I can reach out to, Dr. Tachi, even like you as a content, you create content with By Blacks. Think of us as an extension of your advertising team or your marketing team. If you can't hire a full-time or even a part-time marketer, then we can work on campaigns. These campaigns can be for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, in order to at least 4 weeks. You know what I mean? But like have a good four solid campaign that you can work with any of us in order to help bring your message or special or anything that you're trying to push yourself or your business. If you can't hire someone full-time or part-time, think of us as content creators to be your extension of 100%. Your business.
So here's I'm gonna create some controversy right now, right?
You don't do that, Roger. You don't do that.
Really?
I'm gonna get controversial with all the content creators out there and all the influencers and everything. So you see this little guy named Keith Lee?
Yes.
I knew I was just thinking about this. Okay.
I'm gonna talk about Keith Lee, right? So Keith Lee came here, spent his own money, flew himself here, booked the hotel himself for him and his family, selected a few restaurants to go to. None of them paid him $1, right?
Oh, be specific. How did he select? Be specific. How did he select these restaurants?
You know what? He looked online and he looked at some of the influencers here. Yes. He did look at what some of the people were saying. Absolutely. There were a couple that he didn't, though, right? So at the end of the day, the point I'm trying to make is this. Notwithstanding, he went there free of cost to the restaurant. So I think there's 2 models that are working, right, Shirley? There's 2. I'm going to address you directly. There's 2 models, right? There's the Keith Lee model. And there's another guy up here that does it. I think he's called Wayne. He has like 60,000 followers on Instagram. So Keith Lee goes to Old Nassau, right? He really likes it, and then they get bulldozed with customers, right? Ex influencer here that has 200,000 followers goes to a restaurant. They don't get bulldozed, but they have to pay him. So the point I'm trying to make is I prefer the Keith Lee model. I think that you really need to build up your network and rely on the platforms to pay you than the businesses to pay you. Because the businesses most times don't have that budget. Like I know some influencers are asking for $5,000. I've had influencers ask me for $2,500 to visit one restaurant. And I don't believe, hold on, Shirley, I don't believe that $2,500 would have generated a Keith Lee effect. Not even 1,000th of a Keith Lee effect.
Well, so as a content creator, the only reason why Keith Lee can do this model is because he's American. And the unfortunate thing is when you're a content creator in Canada, these platforms, most of the times these creator programs or creator marketing program is not extended to Canada, or you have to have just ridiculous amount of followers in order to be even eligible for these programs. TikTok, let's use this example because that's his platform, right? We still, 2024 in Canada, don't have the creators program that he's able to be paid from in the US. We're in
We're on
Canada.
TikTok
Why don't
right
we
now.
have this program that Keith Lee is able to, okay, TikTok is going to pay me so I can pay it out of my pocket, go to these businesses and create this form of model that he has. We'd love to do the Keith Lee. And I'm speaking for people like Keith Lee had to go and look at who are these girls? Mix in the Six, I believe their name is. Oh, yeah, Mix in the Six. He utilized a lot of their suggestions in order to go to these businesses. But unfortunately, the only way that these gals can get paid on TikTok is if they have a brand deal. If they do approach a business like yours or any restaurants to say, hey, pay me $2,000 so I can come and create, basically suggest or give a feedback or review about your business. And that's the only way that a content creator can survive.
But Shirley, so the thing is,
so businesses, let's just point out that companies like yours or businesses should actually go to TikTok, go to Instagram, go to Meta and say, hey, how you need to push more of this program that's afforded to the US that's not afforded to these content creators in Canada. So that way they can create more of that Keith Lee effect.
Well, first of all, we're blocked on Meta, as you know, so we're not going. We're tired of going to Meta now to get unblocked.
Even just you saying that, it just goes to show you that how these programs have a problem. I don't know what's the laws that's creating these kind of problems. Meta shouldn't block you, but that's the issue.
Block. No. I mean,
not just you. I know. I know.
They block all. I mean, I see why Meta did that, but that's for another show. That's for no. I don't think it's vindictive. They don't want to pay the money. I mean, it's not. That's
the definition of vindictive.
No, basically, no. Hold on. Understand something. They have not shut down because they're not showing the media information. So therefore, they're like it's moot. They're like saying their revenue doesn't come from media is not spending that amount of money for them to shut them down.
You're defining vindictive. They don't care because the government is creating a bill that's going to cause them to pay. So
Google has
in the process of that bill, they've said, "Well, we're blocking your Canadian content." Then,
so coming back to this one. So let me come back to Shirley on this whole thing. So if business has a budget and you have a content creator that is and this is controversial. I mean, I know the content creator is on TikTok or wherever, right? Wouldn't it just make sense for the business to just advertise on TikTok? Because if you advertise on TikTok and spend $2,500, that's going to give you about 2.5 million impressions, roughly. So, and then you have to compare it with how much impressions, because that's what it comes down to. The agencies are calling us. They're like, what's your impression?
But how long did they have to do it? You know that they have to do it in a long term. They have to invest in a long-term way if they're going to put their money on TikTok in comparison to someone like me or let's say Ryan Hickson from Eat Famous, who've built the trust, who've put in the work as a content creator, and really that's like it's a lot more organic to work with a content creator because they've built the trust, and it's a lot more advertising when you're just going to go straight to the program or the platform, and then you have to do it in a much longer term. We're literally practically your megaphone in comparison to now you're just kind of throwing your money in the wind, and hopefully you know how to excuse my language. I'm gonna get passionate. Hopefully you know how to use these platforms to advertise, because that's like you have to go through the process of learning how to advertise properly, to do some A&B testing, to see what works, to see that what doesn't work. Guess what? A content creator like Ryan Hickson at Eat Famous have already done the work for you, right? So when he says something, it goes. It's like this in comparison to just putting it on straight to the platform.
Bring him on and ask him to share the conversation that I had with him, and he'll tell you himself, right? I think the snippet of it is that what Dr. Vibe said: Canadians don't rate Canadian content creators, which you said earlier, right? It's like, when I say content creators, not just influencers and content and podcasters and everything. It's even artists. So Drake, Justin Bieber, everybody weekend they have to go to the States, make that cheddar, and then come back, and then you're famous. But they wouldn't have become mega
So true.
famous from Canada.
Well, so
Jim
I'm just,
Carrey,
yeah,
all of them.
I'm gonna, and I'll tell you from personal experience, family. When I first started this, I had to beg anyone who looked like us from this country to come on
Yeah,
this
that's
platform.
crazy. So that's crazy.
Right?
So,
And it's still easier for me to get someone on from outside of this country who looked like us on this platform than myself. And that's a Canadian thing. I don't think it's just a Black Canadian thing. It's a Canadian thing.
It is a
Right?
Canadian
So
thing.
so Ryan Knight, I thought you had to leave at 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
No, man,
Yeah.
my apologies.
stick around.
My phone's still. But again, I'm gonna be listening as I'm in this next meeting.
I think maybe quarterly or monthly we should have a creators corner conversation.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
I don't. Go ahead, Roger.
I don't want to diminish the role of the content creator because I believe the content creators are necessary for storytelling. Right, they're 100% necessary for storytelling. But I start to think about like when I see things online now, and you see a product like a High Smile. Remember the purple thing that you put on your teeth and blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
So initially you saw it, everybody saw the ads. They're on TikTok, right? And then you started seeing all these content creators, and then after a while you're like, okay, all right, hold on a second. The company is paying this person to say that it works. I mean, come on. Versus Keith Lee going to somewhere and saying, hey, you know what? They don't know that I bought this food and I'm rating it at 8.3. So who is more believable? This is my question.
Yeah, absolutely. I think though
Thank you, Dr. Thatcher.
Yeah, I agree. When we look at it from a numbers and an exposure perspective, yes, definitely. And I love Keith Lee's way of doing it. The reality is there are so many content creators who are not able to do it that way or don't have the fortitude to do it the way that he's doing it. So, and then when we talk about, and it's not just Canada, and I think for people in the US, I think we look at the land mass of Canada and think it's a big country. No, most of the people live along the US border. It's a much smaller concentration of people that live in Canada, even though the land mass is like double what we are. So it's much smaller. And still, even with that, when we look at content creators and the initiatives and things that we have access to in the States, that's not everybody. So then when you look at content creators of color, it becomes even smaller. When you look at specifically Black, it becomes even smaller. And this is why I say that we cannot rely on the platforms for sustenance, because they never intend, you will never make more than they will. They are not there to pay you. They have to pay you as an afterthought because I'm using your content. And even then. So really, I think it's content creators need to look at other ways, as Mario Armstrong teaches, brand partnerships and sponsorships outside of the platform, because the platforms are not going to pay you. Like he says, sneaker money, if that's what you want, coffee money, if you're okay with that. But if you're looking at really having a sustainable income, it's going to have to come from multiple streams. And so even though you all are saying that that's definitely a problem in Canada, I think it's a problem here too, because all we have to do is, for example, look at the fashion space and fashion influencers. Black fashion influencers do not have the same access to Dior and Valentino and the high-end brands, Louis Vuitton. How many Black influencers do you see them working with, and the brand trips that they get taken on? There are not a whole lot of Black creators when it comes to that. So to that, I also say, I think we deserve to be in those spaces, but why are we begging to be in those spaces? This is my thing. I think that there are enough of us, and I know it's a mindset shift. I know this is completely mindset, but we all talk about this all the time in every single field. Why are we not combining? Because our power is immeasurable when we're doing it together. But we're complaining. We're uniting for the wrong cause. We're trying to make sure that we're sitting in the front row at the Dior show or the Tory Burch show, instead of saying, now, how are we supporting Black designers? How can we amplify? So we're sometimes uniting for the wrong causes. So let's bring that forward to this conversation today with Black media and even Black businesses. Let's just say Black businesses in general. We're I think we're all saying the same thing. We basically all are saying the same thing. There just needs to be more support on all ends, because our support at this point has been more for mainstream or non-melanated businesses than it has been for our own. So that doesn't mean don't use mainstream media to get your message out. Yes, it exists. But think about the fact that when you are paying for mainstream media, that is money that does not go into our community. And that's the same thing that you all have been arguing. So let's think about that as well.
Well, hold up a second. So, of course, when we're doing Restaurant Week, we pitch to all media. So we work with the Black media for sure. We work with Black content creators for sure. But we also pitch. We don't advertise with any mainstream. We don't advertise on Bell, City TV, Global, or Toronto Star, Sun, Post, or whatever. We do not advertise with them. What we do is we pitch the stories to them. And I'm telling you, somebody said earlier about community reach. That is bullcrap. One article in the Toronto Star would do more than almost the combined effect of most Black-owned media. The combined effect. I'm telling you, the last edition, when was it, Dr. Vibe? I think the fall 2023, Toronto Star did an article. They called me and they said, hey, we want to feature 3 Toronto-based restaurants. And, I gave them some names. They interviewed everybody. They went up to a little restaurant on Shepherd called Stacy's Island Flavor,
which is closed on Sundays.
There's nothing, it's a regular takeout Jamaican restaurant, right? Food is good. The food tastes like good Jamaican home cooking. They used that. They went into her kitchen, took a picture of her cooking in her kitchen, used that as a feature image, came on the front page of the food section. Yeah. She, up to this day, right? She has written me after and told me, she said, Raja, I couldn't even believe. I went there myself. Uber Eats, skip the dishes, DoorDash, phone was ringing, people were coming in, non-melanated people. I asked the people, how did you hear about this thing? I saw the article in the Toronto Star. Yeah. So we don't have, I'm telling you, Buy Blacks doesn't have that impact. I'm going to be honest and say that.
No, right? Absolutely. I think, I'm sorry, Shirley, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think you're right. I'm not disagreeing. But the reason that continues to happen is because we continue to place undue importance on those mainstream outlets. Number one. No. Partially it is, because if you feel that this is more important, then that's one thing. And I'm not saying don't use them at all. It should be in tandem, definitely. No. But then how many of the Black restaurants actually have that same opportunity to get put on the front page? That's one out of how many?
They've done several. Over the years, they've done several. What the point I'm making, and which I want, it comes back to what you're saying, right? It's a numbers game. The Toronto Star has more followers than us. That's just facts. They've been around longer. They have a deep, and they're trusted. They're a trusted media outlet.
Yes.
So you can't just build up trust. We're 11, 12 years old next year, right? We don't have that same trust level, right, that the Toronto Star would have. That's just facts. And if you're a content creator, you've been around for 3-5 years, you don't either. Let's just get over it. I mean,
I don't think it's trust. I think it's reach.
Do you think it has to do with the generational? Because you're mentioning to Toronto Star. Let's be real with even us having this conversation. Yeah. I could say we're like Gen X generation, pretty much, that's having this conversation. And so when I have a conversation with, or I see the content creators who are millennials or late Gen Z, that's a different conversation, because they don't necessarily need the Toronto Star. I've met content creators like Tunji, for example, who was in Vancouver and now he's in Toronto, and he has a huge following, and the guy can sell out a theater. He had a comedy show in Vancouver and he sold it out. He didn't need the Toronto Star for that. He didn't need
well, he's in Vancouver.
You know what I mean? So I think that's a generational conversation as well, because the younger generation are really truly utilizing these platforms and really utilizing all forms of what you can think of as form of content creation, and are selling out in theaters, are being flown and invited to hotels, are being they're able to not have to utilize traditional media. And now that
Absolutely.
traditional media, I was at the Canadian Association of Journalism, and I mean, these businesses that are our generation is gonna have to start thinking about content
agree
creators
that.
eventually,
Yeah, yeah.
because traditional media is not doing so well. Radio right now, I mean, is not doing well,
So, okay,
right?
okay. You know, every time you say that, I'm gonna hit you back with real. This is what we just did. This.
I
We had
hear
a
you, but I'm
hold
saying
on.
is
We had a
everything you're saying I could see makes sense for our generation. But when the
okay.
younger generation, they are killing it without traditional media.
You know something? We just did a brand partnership with Flow 98.7 for Restaurant Week. First time ever. We were trying to do it before, but the previous management wouldn't agree to the contract. So these guys did it, and they had one restaurant deliver food per day. For unfortunately, the Monday was a holiday, so just 4 days, right? I'm going to talk about Carib Dish. The Carib Dish is in Barrie, and they had to deliver the food on a Friday. So he drove Devon, the owner, he drove down from Barrie, delivered the food to the host, and on his way back up, he's listening to Flo, and he's hear them talking about the food, and they're talking about it on air. By the time he got back to his restaurant, he had a lineup. So you know when people say these things about red, and it's young. I went there myself. The people who showed up there were not people my age or even close to my age. They were young families. They look like they're somewhere between, I'd say, 20 to 35. Young people. So we make these assumptions. The truth is that if you're in your car driving, and if you're a typical black person, you're gonna find Flow 98.7 because you're gonna hear music that you want to hear, right? It's just surely. I know. I agree. You know what I say about.
Yeah, but also, what did Flo do? What was their plan when they started Flo? They got two podcasters who are that age range to be their
Correct.
morning hosts.
Correct.
Content creators.
Correct. So
who are now like radio DJs. I'm saying is that one of the biggest, I guess I get frustrated is that it's a generational conversation that we tend to put down or put a non-importance as content creators. When you're using Flo as an example, and you said the people that came to this thing, but Flo understood the assignment by getting content creators, podcasters to be their morning people. And who the people you say that you saw of that age are exactly their age bracket. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's not put down the power of content creators. That's what's happening, right?
No, I'm saying that it's the opposite of what you said. I'm saying that traditional media needs to work with more content creators, which is what they're doing, right? So you're looking at the traditional media and you're thinking, oh, it's just old people. That's their audience. But no, they've figured it out already. They've figured it out, and they're incorporating that into their product. And that's why they're able to still get the numbers. And they already have a legacy effect. They already have that systemic effect of having those large numbers of followers and viewers and everything. Let's get some comments.
You know,
Dr. Tachi.
You know, Roger,
last comments because I gotta jump.
I just love to challenge. I just want to say, Roger, I adore you. I just love to challenge you.
I know.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we're gonna continue to work together too. That's why I say Shirley's my sister. So we're gonna continue to work. I know that she has a myriad of people in our stable, so to speak.
Dr. Tachi, last words.
Thank you. No, this has been so interesting indeed, and I do believe it's a generational thing because even with Gen Xers. Gen Xers realize the power of the whole content creation thing. And especially those of us in media, we see the waning of traditional media. So even though we have to look at the demographic of who's watching what, who's listening to what, and how effective it is, as you were saying, like younger millennials and Gen Z, you're hard pressed to find them watching or listening to traditional media at all. It's YouTube, it's TikTok. That's what they trust. And that's where they get their news and information from. And as you said, Roger, absolutely these traditional media outlets are seeing this and they're like, okay, well, we need to bring some of this on board. However, what's not happening is them shifting their model to accommodate that. So it's working for now. But are you really talking to that generation where they're going to be like, I'm going to stop watching YouTube so much and come over there? No, because you bring them to bring in the numbers, but then you don't have anything for them to stick around. So I think that's where that disconnect is with the traditional media. And if they figure it out, oh, well, I'm not traditional media anyway. So, but thank you, Dr. Vibe, for having me on.
No, I want to say, Roger, you can unmute yourself. Thank you to each one of you. Like I said, I didn't know where this was going this morning, but that's why independent media is great, because you can pivot on the fly.
Yeah,
Because
that's right.
If this was traditional media, none of you would have been on the screen.
Yeah, but somebody said something about when you go on traditional media, 4 to 7 minutes. That's typical interview length, unless you're on a show like the Fifth Estate or something like that.
Yeah.
But that 4 to 7 minute gets chopped up so many ways and then finds itself on YouTube, on TikTok, and all of that. So the interview may be 4 to 7 minutes, but it's going to get to how many other platforms. It's like Restaurant Week, right? When we do Restaurant Week and we have the destination marketing organizations partner with us, they have combined over 6 million Canadian followers.
Yeah,
6 million.
Yeah.
So think about that. Who has that? So if they're pushing out Restaurant Week and pushing out the restaurants and putting it out there, it's just not just about the black media or even the traditional media. It's an overall reach, and that's why the program has been, in my opinion, so successful. It's really everybody.
There's we got to duplicate aggregation.
Correct.
Right?
And that's why, Shirley, we try to work with as much different content creators as possible, because you're trying to tap into networks, into, as Dr. Tachi calls it, communities. Because Shirley has her community. Buy Blacks has their community. Dr. Vibe has his community, right? What's Cooking with Chef Noel, Jump Podcast, etc., all the various people that we work with. We work with a myriad of people.
And can I just add this too? If and that's for any businesses that are out there and thinking of like, okay, maybe I should consider influential marketing and I have no idea. Is the thing is, the great thing about influential marketing or working with a content creator, basically that's what it means, is we can work with your budget. You tell us your budget, even if it's $50. It could be a short mention in an article or in our newsletter, or a quick, quick little one-liner that can be showing up in our next emails to our community. Like, we can work with your budget. It's just think long-term, because it takes up to 7 times for people to make a decision if they want to buy. So consider that. And also pay content creators whenever don't, please pay content creators, no matter what. Just talk to us. We'll figure out a budget. We'll see. We could tell you what we can do with whatever budget you have, but at least pay us. Because a lot of times, that's the biggest complaint I hear with my Black Canadian creators, is everybody wants like a hookup, especially if it's within our community. Let's stop the hookup, because you'd be quick and ready to pay that ad on Toronto Star. So put some of that. You know what I mean? Or even, but at least please, like, put a budget together. We can work with budget that you have as a content creator, but pay us, because it takes so much time for us to edit the caption. What are we going to talk about? The messaging, all that. It takes time. So please consider that when working with a content creator.
Okay, that's it. Roger, where can people touch base with you?
At Buy Blacks on most social media platforms.
Okay.
Of course, that Meta, Facebook, and Instagram, we're currently blocked. Only in Canada, by the way. I should make that note. So if you're operating a VPN to maintain your security when you're browsing, and you selected IP address outside of Canada, you can see all the content.
There you
FYI. So Dr. Tachi can see the content very well.
Yep. Shirley, where can people touch base with you?
You could touch base with me at the Chonilla Network, so CHONILLA network.com, or you could find me on all social media platforms at Black Canadian Creators. I'm there mostly. So Black Canadian Creators on all social platforms, or if it's Twitter, it's just Black Canadian CC.
Did you like it?
Check out my newsletter that's in Black Pod News. It's called Northern Voices, where I spotlight podcasts. I create a podcast list that you need to listen of Black Canadian podcasts or Black Canadian hosted or co-hosted podcasters in Canada who are melanated that you should learn and hear and check them out and spotlight.
You like how I dropped the page drop today?
Yes.
All right.
Love
there
it.
you
Love
go.
it.
And Dr. Tachi, all roads lead to where?
You can contact me directly on Instagram at Dr._Tachi. But of course, if you're looking for great content, check us out at Indie Soup Media. So we are a streaming network and you can find us. There we go on indiesoupmedia.tv. You can also watch the programs on YouTube, Twitch, also on Facebook Live, or you can download the Roku app if you have a Roku device and watch our things Monday through Friday.
All right. Well, family, thank you so much. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourselves grace. And I will be chatting with you offline because I think we need to do this either monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly. Because I think
I'm in.
I'm in. I think monthly at least. So take care to all you. Be well and keep the faith. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Vibe, for this.
My pleasure. My pleasure. All right, family. And don't worry, Hayden. I will still keep on reaching out to people. I will, but not frequency will be a little bit lower because I got other people reaching out to me. So that's what's going to happen. So I haven't totally given up. I've just, I manage my time and my energy accordingly. So there were a pile of comments there, family, and I didn't get a chance to put them on. So the nice guy that I'm at, I'm going to go through all these comments to make sure you get respect. So Cassandra London says, we shouldn't have the attitude. Oh, sorry. We shouldn't have this attitude. They should know. We shouldn't project our expectations. Talk to them. It takes 30 seconds to reach out to them. It's a two-way street. Minion Cam says, too many times I've walked into a Black business hoping to buy or eat. They have no available inventory to sell, so I stopped shopping there. I think we got to give them another chance. Respectfully, Dr. Tachi, people only know what they know. So sometimes our responsibility includes reaching and teaching ours. Roger Dundas, at Minnie, that happens at Tim Hortons as well. It's not unique to Black-owned establishments. Minnie on Cam. Some, if they do media, they are not ready for new website traffic, so crash their website hosting package. They are ready for new business and promotion. Minnie on Cam says, I think she said the same thing twice. Okay. Hayden goes, I really hope I never get tired of my own community because generation trauma is a real thing. I really want to do better when I know better. And as I said, I still do it, not the same frequency, but it is an interesting conversation topic. I've had conversations with some melanated people said they don't want to work with melanated people anymore. They've had it. Blackprint, I like that idea, Shirley, even a collaboration business to afford content resources. Hayden Morrison says, many small Black businesses even know what a content creator is. Probably maybe he said don't know what a content creator is. Blackprint, yet it takes time to build that audience, says even for Keith Lee. She says, speak the talk, Shirley. Mignon Cam, big brands know they don't have the influence compared to an individual influence who is speaking their own words on a product. Blackprint says, this part is true. Canadians wait for validation from the US before support is there. That happens. Cassandra says, we are too complacent as a Black community in Canada. I think also Blackprint says, that would be great. So I think she likes the idea of having this regular conversation. Ryan Knight says, this needs to be an ongoing conversation. Thank you for joining, everybody. We'll put it up there. Minion Cam says, brands are selective with working with me because of my adult entertainment experience, so I don't worry about brand deals. I just focus on growing on my audience. Shirley says, thank you, Ryan. Shirley says, population of Canada, a little bit over 38 million. Population of the U.S., 329 million. Blackprint says, yes, agreed. Mario is great with teaching how to get sponsorship. Yes, I know. He's my mentor. She says, creating own spaces. Shirley J. Blackprint. Absolutely. We have the buying power to make an impact. Absolutely. They definitely have bigger reach. Dion Lee Way. Haven't seen and heard from you in a while. Good to have you. Yes, Gen X, true. Macmillan Group, valid point, Roger. Established media has much greater credibility along with their reach. I follow you on numerous platforms, but I get more on updates from non-Black providers. Also says, traditional media is still using email in much more significant manner, both in the US and Canada. This allows the end user to click on content of relevance and drive traffic to their websites. Black print. The true way is to look at ROI to measure the success. Reach doesn't always equate to conversion. We need to look at measuring the conversion success of both methods. Also says both is needed. Black print. I'm listening and I missed the subject coming in late. No problem. Black print says great conversation. Minnie says too many times traditional media cuts my story, so I don't even try with them. Dr. Tachi says at the Macmillan Group, yes, email is still very important. Dr. Tachi says, Macmillan, yes, I got that twice. Blackprint, very true. Dion says, I have a Roku TV. Then download the Indie Soup Media app. Cassandra says, loving the show. Dion Leeway says, good to see you, Dr. Vibe. And Cassandra says, great conversation. So my heart says, yes, get through all that. A lot of people say, don't go through it, but I want to respect because you've taken the greatest thing that you have in your lives, time to check out the conversation. So that's it. So it sounds like the Dr. Vibe, Morning Vibe Show family wants to have this conversation on a regular basis. So I am going to make it happen. So before we get out of here, a few quick things. Wow. We ran way past today, but subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Please like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. To advertise your business product or service on this platform, any that I'm part of. Dr.Vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Join the Morning Vibe Show group, Discord group, Dr.Vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Check out replays all over the place, including Indie Soup Media and also on the scrolling at the bottom. Program alert this Friday. If you think this is the appetizer, this Friday, Wayne Harris and Ray McMillan talking about retirement, Black Belt conversations. To get a hold of Ryan, RyanOneilKnight.com, Ryan Oneil Knight, LinkedIn, Instagram at Ryan.Knight99, email work with me at RyanOneilKnight.com. And finally, the drvibeshow.com, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, the Dr. Vibe Show, Instagram, the Dr. Vibe Show, X/Twitter at drvibeshow, and email dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Pardon me. Sleeping with a fork, I'm done. I usually do that on Fridays, but I'm done. And I got to do more conversations today. Oh my gosh. All right, look, thanks for everyone for dropping by. Appreciate you. Minnie on cam, hearts, great. And we are going to bring this back as a regular conversation. I'm working on it in the next 48 hours to get all of these people back on. And subscribe, please subscribe to the channel, especially on YouTube. Tell other people about it so we can grow, be part of growing Black-owned media and Black-focused media. It's one thing to be owned, but it's Black-focused. All right, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. And remember to give yourselves grace. And we will see you on Friday with Ray McMillan, Wayne Harris. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith and walk good.